Hello everyone. Emma Multilingual here. A warm hello to all of you. I hope you're having a peaceful and beautiful day. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone with your whole heart, only to realize you were never the only one? Because today's story is not just about love, it's about betrayal, the kind you never see coming. So stay with me, because this story might change the way you see love forever. He didn't just break my heart. He planned it. I didn't know that at first. Back then I thought I was the luckiest girl alive. His name was Daniel. We met on a quiet Sunday morning. In a small coffee shop just outside the city. I remember the way he smiled at me, like I was the only person in the room. And maybe that's where it all began. Not the love, the illusion. Because when someone looks at you like that, you don't question it. You don't ask what's behind it. You just fall. And I did. Hard. 3 months later he told me he loved me. 6 months later he said something I would never forget. I see a future with you. Not maybe. Not someday. A future. And I believed him. I started building my life around that sentence. I said no to opportunities, stayed in a city I didn't even love. Because he was there. Because we were there. Or at least that's what I thought. There were signs. Of course there were. But love has a way of softening the truth, turning red flags into misunderstandings. He would disappear sometimes. Not for days, just long enough to make you feel it. A few hours, a night. And when he came back, he always had a reason. Work. Family, stress. And I always had trust. Too much of it. One night. I remember it clearly. We were sitting on his couch. The lights were dim, soft music in the background. It felt like one of those moments you think you'll remember forever. He took my hand, looked at me the same way he did the first day. And he said, "No matter what happens, it's always going to be you. Always." That word stayed with me. I carried it like a promise. Like something unbreakable. But here's the thing about promises. They're only real if the person saying them actually means it. And Daniel? He was very good with words. The first crack didn't come from a fight or a lie. Came from something small. So small I almost ignored it. His phone. It buzzed late at night. He was in the shower. I wasn't the kind of girl who checked phones. I never believed in that. Because if you have to look, the relationship is already broken, right? That's what I used to think. But something felt off. Not wrong. Not yet. Just out of place. Like a puzzle piece that didn't belong. I stared at the screen, just for a second, then another. My heart started beating faster, for no reason I could explain. Or maybe, I already knew. The message preview lit up. Just one line. No name. No context. Just 6 words. "Did you tell her about us?" And in that moment everything I thought I knew about him, about us, started to fall apart. I wish I could tell you I confronted him right then. I wish I could say I was strong. But I wasn't. Because when your heart is built around someone, you don't want the truth. You want an explanation that lets you keep loving them. So I put the phone down. And I waited. For him to come back. For him to smile. For him to say something, anything that would make that message mean nothing. But deep down, for the very first time, I started to realize something I had been avoiding this whole time. Maybe I wasn't the only one. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just stared at those 6 words, over and over again. Did you tell her about us? Didn't feel real. Because it couldn't be. Not Daniel. Not the man who held my hand and promised me forever. Not the man who looked at me like I was everything. The sound of the shower stopped. My heart dropped. I quickly locked his phone and placed it exactly where it was. Same angle. Same position. Like nothing ever happened. Like I didn't just see something that could destroy everything. When he walked out, his hair still damp, his shirt half-buttoned, he smiled at me. That same smile. And for a second I almost believed it again. "Hey," he said softly. "Did you miss me?" I forced a smile. Always. The word tasted different this time. I watched him closely that night. The way he moved. The way he spoke. The way he avoided his phone just a little too carefully. And suddenly everything felt rehearsed. Like I wasn't watching my boyfriend anymore. I was watching someone play a role. Who was that? I asked casually, nodding toward his phone. He didn't even hesitate. Work, he said. Just some late emails. Too fast. Too easy. Too perfect. And that's when it hit me. It wasn't just the message. It was how ready he was to lie. That night, I didn't confront him. Not yet. Because something inside me shifted. Quietly. Slowly. But completely. I needed to know the truth. Not the version he gave me. The real one. So the next morning, I did something I never thought I would do. I went back. To his apartment. He had already left for work. He trusted me. Gave me a key months ago. Said, "This is your home too." Funny how easily words can lie. The apartment was silent. Too clean. Too normal. Like it had nothing to hide. I told myself I wouldn't go too far. Just a quick look. Just a nod to prove I was overthinking. But the moment I opened his closet, I knew. There were shirts I had never seen before. Not new. Just unfamiliar. Different style. Different scent. Not mine. Not his. Someone else's world touching his. Then I saw it. A box. Hidden behind a stack of folded clothes. My hands hesitated. Just for a second. Because I knew once I opened it there was no going back. But I opened it anyway. Inside photos. Dozens of them. Daniel smiling. Laughing. Holding someone. Not me. A girl. Beautiful. Familiar. My chest tightened. My vision blurred. Because I knew her. Not well. But enough. Her name was Lisa. I had seen her once. At a party. He told me she was just a friend. Nothing to worry about. Nothing. But the photos said otherwise. Trips. Dinners. Moments. Memories. A whole life I was never part of. And then, at the bottom of the box I found something else. A note. Handwritten. Folded carefully. I opened it slowly. My hands shaking. And as my eyes moved across the page, my heart didn't just break. It shattered. Because the note didn't say, "I miss you." Or "I love you." It said something worse. "Don't worry. She doesn't know she's just someone I'm seeing for now." Someone I'm seeing for now. That was me. Not the future. Not forever. Just for now. I sank to the floor. The room spinning around me. Every memory. Every word. Every promise, rewriting itself right in front of me. I wasn't his choice. I was his option. I didn't cry. Not the way you'd expect. No screaming and no breaking things. Just silence. The kind that settles deep inside your chest when something finally makes sense in the worst possible way. I sat there on the floor. The note still in my hand, reading it again. And again. And again. She's just someone I'm seeing for now. For now. It was strange. Because the pain, it wasn't sharp anymore. It was cold. Clear. Like a fog had lifted and I could finally see everything for what it really was. All the late nights. All the excuses. All the "I'm busy" texts. They weren't random. They were patterns. And I had been ignoring them. Because I wanted to believe I was the exception. But I wasn't. I was the cover. I stood up slowly. Wiped my hands. Closed the box. Put everything back exactly the way I found it. Not because I forgave him. But because I had a plan. If Daniel thought I was just someone for now, then I was going to show him exactly what happens when for now walks away on her own terms. That night, I acted normal. Too normal. I laughed at his jokes. I leaned into him when we watched TV. I even let him hold my hand like nothing had changed. And maybe that was the hardest part. Pretending I didn't know the truth when it was already tearing me apart inside. "Are you okay?" he asked at one point. His voice soft. Concerned. Convincing. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And for the first time, I didn't see the man I loved. I saw a stranger who knew exactly how to lie without blinking. "I'm fine," I said. And this time I didn't mean it the way he thought I did. Because fine no longer meant, "I'm okay." It meant I'm done. Over the next few days, I started pulling back. Not enough for him to notice. Just enough to protect myself. I stopped sharing everything. Stopped asking questions. Stopped building a future around someone who had already erased me from his. But I didn't leave. Not yet. 'Cause I needed one thing first. The truth. Out loud. Not hidden in a box. Not written in someone else's handwriting. From him. So I waited. For the right moment. And it came on a Friday night. We were out to dinner. One of those places she always said was our spot. Candlelight, soft music. The kind of place where people celebrate love. Funny how convincing things can look from the outside. Halfway through the meal, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Just for a second. But that was enough. Because I saw the name. Lisa. He flipped the phone over quickly. Too quickly. And that was it. That was the moment. I put my fork down. Slowly. Calmly. Who's Lisa? The question hung in the air between us. Heavy. Unavoidable. For the first time, Daniel hesitated. Just a second. But it was enough. Just a friend, he said. There it was. The lie. Simple. Familiar. Practiced. I nodded. As if I believed him. Then I smiled. But it wasn't the same smile he fell in love with. This one was different. Because this time I wasn't the girl being lied to. I was the girl who already knew the truth. And I leaned forward, looked him straight in the eyes, and said something he would never forget. Then why does your friend have photos of you in places you've never taken me? Silence. His face changed. And in that moment, I saw it. The panic. The panic didn't last long. Just a flicker. A crack in the mask. Then he recovered. Daniel leaned back in his chair, let out a small breath and smiled. Not the warm smile I once loved. This one was colder. Sharper. You went through my things? There it was. Not denial. Not confusion. Deflection. I didn't answer right away. I just looked at him. Really looked at him. 'Cause this time, I wasn't searching for the truth. I already had it. I asked you a question, I said quietly. His jaw tightened. For a moment he looked like he might get angry. But instead he sighed. Like I was the problem. She's nothing, he said. Nothing. It was almost funny. 'Cause just days ago, I saw a whole life hidden inside a box. Trips. Memories. Moments. And now she was nothing. Then answer me, I said. Why does nothing look like everything you never gave me? Silence. This time he didn't have a quick answer. His eyes shifted. Avoiding mine. And that was all I needed. Just tell me the truth, Daniel. My voice didn't shake. Not anymore. Because I wasn't afraid of losing him. I had already lost what I thought he was. Another pause. Longer this time. And then finally he spoke. She's someone I've known longer. Not an apology. Not regret. Just an explanation. Like that made it okay. How long? I asked. He hesitated again. A year. A year. I almost laughed. Because I had been with him for 8 months. 8 months off believing I was his future. When in reality, I wasn't even his only present. So what am I? The question came out before I could stop it. And for the first time he looked directly at me. Really looked. Not with love. Not with guilt. But with something worse. Honesty. He paused. Easy. The word hit harder than anything else. Not liar. Not mistake. Easy. Like I was convenient. Replaceable. Like loving me required nothing. And that's when it happened. Something inside me finally broke. Not my heart. That had already shattered. My attachment. The part of Medhat still hoped would choose me. It disappeared. Just like that. I stood up. Calmly. Reached for my bag. He frowned. Confused. Wait, that's it, he asked. That's it. After everything. He still didn't understand. I looked down at him. And for the first time, I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just clarity. You don't get to hurt me and then ask me to stay, I said. My voice was steady. Strong. Because this time I meant every word. I gave you everything, I continued. And you treated me like an option. He opened his mouth, maybe to explain. Maybe to lie again. But I didn't wait. Because I was done listening. I turned. Started walking away. Step by step. Leaving behind the version of Medhat once believed in him. Where are you going? He called out. I didn't stop. Didn't turn around. 'Cause this time, I wasn't the one being left. I was the one leaving. The night air hit my face the moment I stepped outside. Cold. Sharp. Real. For a second, I just stood there, breathing, letting everything settle. Because something had changed. Not around me. Inside me. I wasn't shaking anymore. I wasn't crying. I was thinking. And that was new. Because for the first time since I met Daniel, I wasn't reacting to him. I was choosing for myself. I walked to my car slowly, each step lighter than the last. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I finally understood something. He didn't take anything from me. I gave it. My trust at MY time MY future. Now, I was taking it back. The next morning, I didn't text him. I didn't call. And neither did he. Of course not. Because men like Daniel, they don't chase what they think will always come back. That assumption, that was his first mistake. By noon, I was already moving. I packed everything I had at his place. Clothes, shoes, little things I had left behind thinking I'd be there forever. Funny how forever fits into 2 bags. I didn't rush. I didn't cry. I took my time. Because this wasn't just leaving. This was reclaiming. Then I did something would never expect. I didn't block him. I left the door open. Just enough for him to walk right into what I had planned next. That afternoon, I called someone. Lisa. The name felt different now. Not threatening. Not intimidating. Just necessary. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Hello. Her voice was calm. Unaware. Hi, I said. My name is. I paused. Then I chose my words carefully. I think we need to talk about Daniel. Silence. Then a shift. Who is this? She asked. I could hear it now. The tension. Because deep down she probably already knew. We met that evening. Not somewhere dramatic. No.
À simple café.
Neutral ground. She walked in. And for a moment I saw myself. Not physically. Emotionally. The same hope. The same belief. The same illusion. We sat across from each other. No smiles. No small talk. Just truth waiting to be said. Did you know about me? I asked. She didn't hesitate. No, just one word. And somehow that hurt more than everything else. Because it meant one thing. He didn't just lie to me. He lied to both of us. I reached into my bag. Took out the photos. The note. Placed them on the table. Her eyes moved slowly from one to another. And I watched as her expression changed. Confusion. Doubt. Realization. Then pain. The same pain I felt just a day ago. She looked up at me. How long? She asked. 8 months, I said. Her breath caught. 2 years, she whispered. 2 years. I nodded slowly. There it was. The truth. Not his version. The real one. We sat there in silence for a long moment. 2 women. 1 lie. Then she said something I didn't expect. What do you want to do? I looked at her. And for the first time, I smiled. Not out of happiness, but out of understanding. Let's not fight each other, I said. Let's make sure he never does this again. Her eyes met mine. And slowly she smiled too. Not kind. Not soft. Sharp. Like mine. We didn't need to say much after that. Some truths don't require explanation. Lisa leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, but her eyes were different now. Clear. Focused. Just like mine. So, she said quietly, we expose him? The word hung there. Expose. Sounded simple. Clean. But what Daniel did wasn't simple. It was careful. Layered. And if we were going to do this, we needed to be smarter than him. No, I said. Lisa frowned. No. I shook my head slowly. We don't expose him. I leaned forward. Lowered my voice. We let him expose himself. Silence. Then a slow smile spread across her face. Oh, she whispered. She understood. The plan wasn't complicated. That was the beauty of it. Because people like Daniel, they don't expect consequences. They expect forgiveness. Confusion. Silence. But not control. Step 1, we disappear. No text, no calls.
No confrontation.
Just absence. Step 2, we become normal again. To him. I would act like nothing happened. Lisa would do the same. 2 lives. 1 man. Both pretending everything was fine. Step 3, we wait. As eventually he would slip. Men like Daniel always do. 3 days later he texted me. Hey, can we talk? Of course. Now that I was gone, I suddenly mattered again. I didn't reply right away. I let him wait. Let him feel just a fraction off the uncertainty he gave me. Then finally, I responded. Sure. Short. Neutral. Nothing emotional. We met that night. Same place. Same table. But this time, everything was different. He looked nervous. Good. I've been thinking, he said, running a hand through his hair. That night, I didn't handle it well. I said nothing. Let him talk. Because the more he spoke, the more he revealed. She doesn't mean anything, he continued. There it was again. Nothing. Funny how nothing kept showing up in his life. I want to fix this, he said. Fix. Like I was a mistake. I looked at him. Calm. Unreadable. And then, I did exactly what we planned. I softened. Just a little. Then fix it, I said quietly. His eyes lit up. Hope. Exactly what we needed. Meanwhile, across the city, Lisa was doing the same thing. Same words. Same tone. 2 conversations. 1 illusion. The trap was set. Now we just had to wait for him to choose. Because he would. He always needed control. Needed to decide who mattered more. Who stayed. Who didn't. And that choice would be his downfall. 2 nights later, Lisa called me. Her voice low. Steady. He asked me to meet him tomorrow, she said. Smiled. Of course he did. Same, I replied. Silence. Then we both laughed. Not out of joy, but because finally everything was in our hands. Same place, she asked. I paused. Thought about it. Then I said something that would change everything. No, let's meet him together. Silence. Then a sharp inhale. You're serious? I smiled. Very. Because this time there would be no lies. No hiding. No escape. Just truth. All at once. I arrived early. Of course I did. Not because I was nervous, but because I wanted to see him before everything changed. The restaurant was quiet. Soft lights. Low music. The kind of place people come to fix things. Or break them. I chose a table near the window. Sat down. Took a slow breath. Then I waited. A few minutes later he walked in. Daniel. Same confident stride. Same controlled expression. Like he believed it still had this under control. He spotted me. Smiled. That same smile. It almost made me laugh. He walked over. Sat down across from me. Hey, he said softly. Like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't been living 2 lives. I'm glad you came. Of course he was. 'Cause tonight. He thought he was fixing things. He didn't know. He was walking into the truth. I've been thinking about us, he said. A funny word. I don't want to lose you, he continued. I tilted my head slightly. Watched him carefully. Then don't, I said. Simple. Open. An invitation. His eyes softened. Hope again. Exactly what we needed. I mean it, he said. I'm ready to be serious. To focus on us. Focus. Like I was a decision just made. Not a person almost destroyed. Good, I said quietly. Then I glanced at the door. Right on time. He didn't notice at first. Why would he? He was too busy believing his own story. Because I continued slowly. It's time we stop hiding things. He nodded. Exactly, he said quickly. Honesty. That's what we need. I almost smiled. Honesty. He had no idea what that word was about to cost him. Then a shadow moved beside our table. He looked up. And everything stopped. Lisa stood there. Calm. Still. Looking directly at him. For a second he didn't breathe. Didn't speak. Didn't move. Then his eyes flicked to me. Back to her. Then to me again. And that's when it happened. The moment. The one. He couldn't control. What is this? He asked. His voice tight. Careful. But not calm. Not anymore. I leaned back in my chair. folded my hands in my lap, completely at ease. This, I said softly. I glanced at Lisa, then back at him. This is honesty. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Lisa stepped forward, pulled out the chair beside me, sat down, not across from him, next to me. That detail changed everything. You told me she was nothing, Lisa said, her voice steady. And you told me she didn't matter, I added. Two voices. One truth. He looked between us, searching, calculating, trying to find a way out. There's an explanation, he started. Of course there was. There always is. No, I said. Calm. Final. This time you don't get to explain. His mouth closed. For the first time he had nothing. Lisa reached into her bag, pulled out the photos, the note, placed them on the table, right in front of him. I watched his face. The moment he saw them, it fell apart. Not dramatically, not loudly, but completely. Because now there was nothing left to hide. No more lies, Lisa said quietly. No more stories, I added. Just the truth. Silence. Then finally he spoke. Low, barely audible. I didn't think you'd find out. And that was it. Not sorry. Not regret. Just caught. I stood up slowly. Lisa followed. We didn't yell. Didn't argue. Because we didn't need to. The truth had already done everything. I looked at him one last time. Not with love. Not with anger. But with something far stronger. Closure. You didn't lose us, I said quietly. You never had us. And with that we turned. Walked away. Together. The door closed behind us. And just like that it was over.
No shouting, no chaos.
Just silence. Lisa and I walked side by side into the night. Neither of us spoke at first. Because some endings don't need words. Only distance. A few steps later she let out a small breath. I can't believe it, she said quietly. I nodded. Not because I was surprised. But because I finally wasn't. He really thought he could keep both of us, she added. There was no anger in her voice. Just clarity. That's what people like him do, I said. They don't choose. They keep options. She looked at me. And for the first time there was something different in her eyes. Respect. Not because of what we went through, but because of how we handled it. Thank you, she said softly. I smiled a little. Don't thank me, I replied. We both deserved the truth. We stood there for a moment longer. Two strangers connected by the same lie. Then she turned to leave. And just before she walked away, she looked back. You're going to be okay, she said. Not as a question, as a fact. I watched her disappear into the night. And for the first time in days, I felt something shift inside me. Not pain. Space. The next morning, I woke up early. Too early. The kind of early that used to mean anxiety. Checking my phone. Waiting for messages. Hoping for explanations. But this time it was different. No messages. No missed calls. No Daniel. And strangely that felt like peace. I made coffee. Sat by the window. Watched the city wake up. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about him. I was thinking about me. What I wanted. What I deserved. What I ignored. And slowly, piece by piece, I started putting myself back together. I cleaned my space. Removed the things that reminded me of him. Photos. Gifts. Little pieces of a story that wasn't real. Not out of anger, but out of respect. For myself. Days passed. Then a week. Then two. And something unexpected happened. I stopped missing him. Not because he didn't matter. But because I finally understood he was never what I thought he was. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Then one afternoon my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it for a moment, then answered. Hello. Silence. Then his voice. Hey, it's me. Of course it was. I know I shouldn't call, he continued. Pause. But I needed to hear your voice. Funny, because there was a time I would have melted at that sentence. But now, I felt nothing. You lost that right, I said calmly.
No anger. No hesitation.
Just truth. I made a mistake, he said quickly. I didn't realize what I had. I stopped him. You realized, I said. You just thought I wouldn't leave. Silence. Heavy. And in that silence, I knew. He finally understood. Not what he did, but what it cost him. I'm sorry, he said quietly. And for the first time it sounded real. But it was too late. I hope you learn from it, I said. And then, I hung up. No second chances.
No unfinished conversations.
Just closure. I placed my phone down. Looked out the window again. The same city. The same life. But a completely different me. I didn't look back after that call. Not the way people do in stories. No second thoughts and no what ifs. Because the truth is, I already had my answer. Not from him. From everything he did when he thought I wasn't looking. Life didn't magically become perfect after that. I still had mornings where his name crossed my mind. Moments where a song or a place felt heavier than it should. But it was different now. Those memories, they didn't pull me back. They reminded me how far I had come. A month later, I went back to that cafe. The same one where everything began. Same table. Same window. But this time, I sat there alone. And for the first time it didn't feel lonely. It felt peaceful. I ordered the same drink. Watched people come and go. Couples laughing. Hands intertwined. And I smiled. Not because I wanted that back. But because I finally understood something I didn't before. Love isn't supposed to feel like doubt. It isn't supposed to make you question your worth. And it definitely isn't supposed to make you feel like you're competing for a place in someone's life. Because real love, it doesn't make you an option. It makes you a choice. Clear one. I reached into my bag. Pulled out the last thing I kept. A small photo of us. One of those perfect moments. Smiling. Happy. Or at least it looked that way. I stared at it for a second. Then I turned it over. Blank. No message. No meaning. Just a moment that no longer belonged to me. And gently, I tore it in half. Not out of anger, but out of closure. Because letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing not to carry something that no longer serves you. I finished my coffee, stood up, and as I walked out of that cafe, I didn't feel like someone who had lost love. I felt like someone who finally found herself. Backhand index pointing right, because sometimes the person who breaks your heart is the one who teaches you how to stop settling for less. Backhand index pointing right, and the moment you realize you were never their only choice is the moment you become your own. Thank you for staying with me until the end, and if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.